Become a patron at www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm for hard-to-find books, scans of rare photos, and articles on the Golden Era of bodybuilding. Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookworm here. Today I'd like to continue on my series on Bruce Lee the Dragon and focus on one of his most prized body parts, his abdominals. It was easily the most striking of all his body parts as he flexed them on screen. And similar to the Golden Era bodybuilding legends, his wisdom, his way of training abdominals deserves recognition. And hence today's topic is Bruce Lee's Tao of Abdominal Specialization. Now, the reason Bruce Lee chose to specialize on his abdominals for martial arts training can be easily summarized by one of his most famous quotes. "My strength comes from the abdomen. It's the center of gravity and the source of real power." Bruce Lee. And wasn't he powerful? I mean, always the philosopher with such quotes. Bruce Lee had incredible abdominal development, as clearly shown in this photo of Bruce Lee flexing his body, and you can clearly see the wonderful delineation of his six-pack. And I mean, he looks like he's just made of steel there, and he looks like he's just about to sidekick out of the screen, for God's sake, in this photo. So let's have a look at the wisdom of Bruce Lee behind Bruce Lee's abdominal specialization. Bruce Lee had these wasp-thin abs with perfectly developed abdominals, defined serratus and intercostal muscles. And no wonder his abdominal development was so awesome, because it really represented a lifetime of sacrifice. And by that I mean both diet and dedication to his training. And he did dedicate himself to training. When you see the amount of almost obsessive research he put into studying bodybuilding and the methods of the Golden Era champs, and applying all this information. Not only did he study the methods of the bodybuilding champions of the day, but he also was obsessed in learning about the human anatomy and physiology of the human's musculature. And in doing so, he also obviously developed his own way of training his abdominals. Now, Bruce Lee had a way of training martial arts, and he famously said for Kung Fu that he would discard what was unnecessary and only use what was useful. And similarly, after studying all the bodybuilding champions' methods of the day, he actually came out with 5 major exercises which he determined after his research would be sufficient for his abdominal training. And these are listed, being the sit-up, leg raise, standing twists, frog kicks and side bends, which he believed if you trained with high repetitions, as the champs did in the day, for 2 to 4 sets would be sufficient to constitute a decent abdominal workout. But like the bodybuilding champions, Bruce Lee also had his own method of training. He was very big on training abdominals fast to get his metabolism going, but to really focus and concentrate on the contraction. Very similar to the writings of Frank Zane, Arnold Schwarzenegger, etc. But with each exercise, as I mentioned, he had his own tweak. So let's go through these right now. For example, the sit-ups, which he used to target his upper abdominals and intercostals, he would perform 15 to 20 reps, and he would use a slanting abdominal board to do so. And he actually performed the sit-up more like a crunch. That's very important to keep in mind. For the leg raise, he actually used that for targeting the lower abdominals. And he would use a flat bench and grab the uprights, and would actually bring his legs up, which would already be hanging off the ends of the bench. He also would perform the leg raise using a chin-up bar, where he would just hang off a chin-up bar and bring his legs up as straight as possible. The standing twist is quite often used in the Golden Era, because it is well known, just like Frank Zane, Arnold and Sergey used to say, that when done for high reps, and we're talking 50 to 100 reps, is excellent at tightening the waistline. Another exercise which he learned was actually from the York Barbell Club, specifically from Dr. John Ziegler, the inventor of Diana Ball. And he actually chose to use one of Dr. John Ziegler's exercises, and this was the frog kick, where you basically again hang from a chin-up bar, but this time bring your knees to your chest. A very simple exercise. And the last one which he incorporated was side bends using a dumbbell for targeting the obliques. Again, these 5 exercises he would perform for high repetitions as listed for 2 to 4 sets. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Bruce Lee had an incredible power developed in his core from all this wonderful abdominal training which he used to do, and he would perform such feats as the dragon flag, which again you can see him holding the uprights of a flat bench and bringing his whole body erect up from the shoulders up in a straight line. It's pretty impressive. He would also perform things like the V-sit, which I showed in the previous slide and showing here now, which he could apparently hold for up to 30 minutes. It's incredible. I mean, the amount of strength this man possessed was really, really incredible. Now, Bruce Lee was truly a man who believed in walking the walk and not just talking the talk. I mean, here's another great quote from the great man. "If you love life, don't waste time, for time is what life is made up of." Bruce Lee. I mean, that's just wisdom right there, isn't it? And his lifestyle truly reflected both his martial arts and bodybuilding training. He of course had to sacrifice and not eat those high-calorie foods, so he followed a proper diet, high in protein, with little starches, and of course not having sweets at all, and lowering his fat content. He would do all sorts of cardio, running, cycling, and of course lots of martial arts. And it is often known that even Bruce Lee used a neoprene belt back in the day, not necessarily to remove fat off the waist, but by removing water, it would appear that he would have an even trimmer waistline. Again, a practice that was done during the Golden Era. And of course, like most Golden Era champs, he would train abdominals every single day. So he really was the man who didn't talk the talk, but definitely walked the walk. Amazing human being, Bruce Lee. So now I'll leave you with some final quotes from Bruce Lee. He was a great philosopher, and here's another phenomenal line from him. "Willing is not enough, we must do. Knowing is not enough, we must apply." And now you know the wisdom of Bruce Lee's specialization for abdominal training. As he said, if you train well and keep a proper diet, with the diet, he puts it perfectly in one of his books. If you're going to eat fats and sweets and all sorts of things like that, why add to the problem, he says, while you're working on it? It just makes perfect sense. But unfortunately, common sense is not as common as it is nowadays. So, if you're gonna try and train abdominals, then you definitely need to stick to a diet. These are all very intelligent lines from Bruce Lee. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video on the wisdom of Bruce Lee regarding abdominal specialization. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't to the Golden Era Bookworm. Thank you for watching, and leave me your comments. If you'd like to support the work that I'm doing, please use my PayPal account shown in the description below. You can become a patron on www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm. We have access to an online library of photos, articles, and books. And finally, if you'd like to purchase any of the courses from the Bronze and Silver Era, which I collect and scan for you, you can go to my website, goldenerabookworm.wixsite.com/website. That's it for me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm. Bye for now. Visit goldenerabookworm.wixsite.com/website for courses from the Bronze and Silver Era of bodybuilding.